This week, discover how to use email marketing to automatically warm up leads, retain clients, and grow your photography business.
Welcome to Shoot to the Top, a podcast for professional photographers with web designer and marketer Sam Howarth and professional photographer with over 20 years in the industry, Marcus Ahmad.
Hey, hi there, Sam. How you doing?
Excellent, Marcus. Very, very good. And you?
Yeah, I am also very well, thank you. Yes, indeed.
I think I'm going to start the show one time and go, no, I'm bloody awful.
Well, mate, life's pretty good at the moment. Maybe it's just getting old and expecting less. I don't know, but life's pretty good.
In this episode, you're going to discover 3 things. First, how to automatically warm up your leads using clever email automations. Second, the secret to retaining your clients long after the photo shoot is done. And finally, how using simple tags and triggers can make sure you send the right message to the right person every time. So yeah, I'm going to talk about email marketing, and I was thinking, well, we do loads of shows on this because it comes up as a topic in a lot of shows. And then when I actually looked, we hadn't done a show just about email marketing since May 22 or something. Wow. 23. So for a lot of listeners, my first thing is for a lot of listeners probably didn't even know we'd done those shows and probably haven't heard them. So the first thing is go and listen to those first shows. Links in the show notes. There's one show about building your mailing list and another show about email newsletters, and they're definitely worth listening to. But I'm going to do something different for today's show, Marcus.
Go on then. What's that?
So yes, we're going to go email marketing beyond the newsletter.
Oh, I didn't know there was such a thing.
There we go. So yes, not just newsletters. What else can we do with them?
Oh, great.
So obviously we can build our mailing list and we can send out newsletters, and that's lovely. But there's other things we can do that are really powerful that maybe you didn't know about, or maybe you are doing, and I think it would be just good to talk about them. And one of the things I really want to talk about today is automations.
Okay, well, like scheduling and stuff like that, is that what you're thinking? Or
yeah, so
AI
effectively,
stuff?
Yes. No, not AI stuff. So a newsletter, usually you write it, it goes out, you might schedule it to go out at a certain time and date rather than just when you wrote it, especially if you wrote it at 3 a.m. But an automation is more a series of emails that's triggered by a certain event. So these can be really useful for all sorts of reasons, but largely to warm up leads. So if you can manage to get a lead to get a free download, we talk a lot, don't we, about, having lead magnets, having a free download on your website, getting a free meeting, whatever it is. But what you can then do, and normally that triggers an email, doesn't it? If you get people fill in a form, get a free download, it triggers an automatic email that says, oh, well done, here's your free download. And that's an automation. But just leaving it at that one email is kind of a bit of a waste in some ways. What you can then do is send more and more and more and have a whole series of automated emails going out that kind of is then warming up that person to become more of a lead for you. They've come in as a kind of cold lead, and that's going to warm them up as they get more and more emails from you.
Oh, it sounds quite complex. I hope it's not going to go over my head. It probably will do.
It is not complex. It is just sending emails at different times.
Okay.
So you can get it to do all sorts of things and trigger in all sorts of ways. So the first thing for the automations is there has to be something called triggers. So effectively that means, why is this email going to be sent? Yeah? So it might be, let's for example say you've got a free download on your website that is how to make the most of your brand photography. Yep, when somebody fills in that form, that could be the trigger to start an email automation that then sends them an email. And then waits 3 days, and then sends them another email, waits a week and sends them another email, and so on. So the first thing is the trigger, is like what is causing these emails to go out. And often it is that filling in a form, but it could be if you've got an e-commerce shop, them buying something. It could be you manually putting on them. So it might be, for example, well, I'm going to set an automation up for everybody I meet at a networking event. And when I get home from the networking event, I'm going to type all the names into my email marketing, and I'm going to set that automation going, and they get the first one is, oh, it's really nice to meet you at networking and blah, blah, blah. It could be, so you could do it manually like that, but usually it's something automatic. They've filled in a form, they've sent an email, they've opened an email, whatever it is. There's a whole list of triggers that would start it off.
I might be jumping the gun here a little bit, Sam, but presumably you can do this within your platform that you're using, or do you do it through LinkedIn, or how would...
No, always through the email marketing platform. So you'll have an email marketing platform. It might be MailChimp, it might be one of the other ones, MailerLite, and all of them have the ability to send automations. Now, some of them do restrict you depending on the subscription you have. I know certainly with MailChimp, you have to go a couple of subscriptions up to be able to do decent automations, which is a bit of a pain, while some of them just throw it all in for free. Not for free, but within their standard package. Or I'm feeling MailerLite, once you've paid, you get as much as you like, sort of thing. It varies. But yeah, it's always in that email marketing system, because that makes sure, well, first of all, that they're on your mailing list. Secondly, it deals with all that GDPR stuff, so every email will go out with a little unsubscribe at the bottom, so it deals with all of that thing for you, which is so important. Yeah, it's the only way really to set these up, is using that email marketing system.
Okay.
And the other thing you can have in there is decision points. So it might be that you've got, let's say you're promoting an event. You've got an event, you're going to do, right, I want to get, well, we were talking about brand photography, weren't we? I'm going to do an event for small businesses in my area. I'm going to talk them how to, improve their brand image on LinkedIn. I'm going to do like a little webinar maybe. So you get a little mailing list of people you're going to invite, and then you put them all on this automation, and then they get the first letter inviting to the event, and maybe 3 days later they go, don't forget this event, have you booked on yet, blah blah blah. Now you're going to look a wally, obviously, if they book on and they keep getting these bloody emails reminding them to go to the event. So this is where these can be quite clever, and you not just have a trigger at the beginning to start it, but you can have decisions at different points as you go through. So it could be before you send the next email, it could be a decision, has this person booked onto the event? Yes, no. If it's no, you send them the next email reminding them to book onto the event. If it's yes, then you cut off, you don't want them to get any more of those, so they stop being on the automation. But probably by booking on, you've sent them on to a different one, which is the emails you send out to people who are on the event, because you're saying different things to them. So you can use those decisions to make them quite clever, so that, if you're chasing somebody to do something, you can then make it so that at some point it stops sending the emails because they've done it. And now that might be automatic, like we said, they've booked onto an event and the marketing system can see that. Or it might be something manually where you just have to go into the mailing system and put a little note against their name going, yeah, they've done this now. I kind of use both, because you can the automatic stuff, great, but some things people do manually, or it's going to cost you a lot of money to link the system. So, sometimes it's easier just to, go in and do it manually. If it's a few people, it's easier than that than spending a lot of money. If it's thousands of people are making a lot of money, great, do all the automation. Yeah. But if it's a few people, it doesn't take a lot to log in, click on Fred Blogs and add a little tag to him. So tags are really key, actually, to this. You know what tags are, Marcus?
No, I don't. I'm making notes, so go on. Tell me what tags are.
Okay, so, all tags are basically, if you've got somebody in your mailing list, it's kind of a little note about them, for example. So it might be everybody you invite to this webinar, you put the tag webinar May 25, which means invite webinar May 25, and then you just know there's somebody you've invited to the webinar. Yeah, and so you might then have another tag when anybody's booked on, it automatically adds the tag booked webinar May 25. And so before you send every email inviting them, you just check they're not booked already and don't have the booked tag. And it's just a way of tracking what you've sent to people, what you've invited to them, what you've invited them to, what they're doing and stuff. Just kind of a way to keep it organized. And you can use tags to see where you've got people from as well. So, people could all have, you could send everybody who's come from the website, could have the tag website. You can do it whatever you want. It's just a way of labeling stuff, so then you can organize who emails go to and who automations go to.
Great. Okay.
Cool. So, I'm just going through my notes now. So what could you use these automations for? There's a few things. So I think warming up leads is really important. If somebody's gone to your website, they've got the free download, you still don't know them, you're still probably not spoken to them. They've been to your website once and they've got a download, but that's not much of a relationship. But you can then, start to build that relationship automatically, which sounds a little bit cold, but it saves you a lot of time, because then later down the road you can have a conversation with them. But in the meantime, you can be checking that they've read the download, asking what they think about it, maybe sending a testimonial who's somebody who's done work with you on a similar thing, talk about the sort of work you've been doing, kind of just build that relationship, and eventually at the end of it, you can, you can do a couple of things. You could try and get them then to book a call, for example, and go, right, this has been lovely. I'd really like to speak to you about this, book a call. Or you can also get the system to email you instead of them. So you could, once they've had, say, 10 emails, email you and say, Marcus, this person's had 10 emails. Call them tomorrow. So you get a notification. So this person's had all his email. I'm going to call them. And when you call them, it won't be like somebody's filled in a form once and they're going, who the hell is Marcus? They've had all these emails. So they've got a good idea who you are, and they're kind of pre-warmed up. So it'd be a much easier conversation while you've not had to do anything.
I'm sure that's key as well, is automation. We all get quite a lot of automated emails, and they are fairly easy to spot, aren't they? I mean, they're getting clever and clever with your name in the text, whatever. But when it becomes to make the decision, if you can talk to somebody or have a more personal conversation, might help tip over the edge.
That's it. I don't think you'll manage to make a big sale on email automation. The key is getting from the one stage to the next. And we had a show we did a little while ago about marketing funnels, didn't we, Marcus?
Yes,
about, right, first we want somebody to, go to the free webinar. Then we might get them to this. Then we'll maybe get them to make a small purchase. And it's not about getting somebody who's visited your website to go on a £10,000 course with you. It's about somebody who's coming to the website, nudging them towards that next step. And I think that's definitely it. It's like, you want them to get to the next step, and these emails are just going to help to nudge them along that way. Yeah, you're not going to sell huge amounts in one go, but it's going to move you towards that sale, and it's going to make that sale much easier, because between the time they've done something and you speak to them, they've been given lots of information about you. Gotcha. And they've kind of felt they've got to know you a little bit, and maybe you've had a few emails backwards and forwards. So then when you have that conversation, they feel they know you. You've maybe had a couple of emails from them. Then it can, then it's been really useful.
So I guess what you're saying there, it depends on, as most of these things are, on the application, how it's going to be used. Like,
exactly.
We've got something coming up, haven't we, where we're going to be doing a live audience, or we're going to try something like that. And presumably you're thinking about doing that via email marketing. Or
that's it.
Because we're after numbers. Whereas I've got the workshop that I'm doing myself in Mexico next year, and I wasn't really thinking about email marketing, because I'm only thinking about 10 people on that course. So I would be thinking of something a bit more personalised and a bit more direct. Am I sort of right in doing that, Sam, or do you think I should?
It depends. It depends. If these are people who you've never talked to before, yes, you're not going to get somebody you've never talked to, and this email automation can persuade them to go on a expensive course. But if you've never met them before, if you send them 10 emails in a row and then you speak to them on a phone call, you're going to have a much easier phone call than if it's just a cold phone call.
Right, okay.
It's
So you warm them up, like you keep setting that, warm them up. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, Great. That's it. But you can use them for other things as well. So I use them for my customers, for example. So a lot of photographers, that would be really powerful. There's a lot of photographers, you do your photo shoot, off they go into the wide world, and you never hear from them again. Now, if you had an automation that is for after people have had their photo shoot, and you're going 5 days later, have you done your first LinkedIn post yet? How did that go? And you're talking to them about them using their photos and helping them use their photos and stuff. How much more helpful are you going to appear, and how much more likely are they to come back and talk to you? And you could maybe, after they've had a few automations, and they don't have to, some of them could be a couple of weeks apart with something like that. They don't have to be every 5 minutes. You don't want to annoy people. You could maybe, to start with, have them a bit more regularly, and then space them out, and then maybe have a few close, and then, after 3 months, well, do you want to just have a catch-up, and we'll see how you're doing with your photos, and you're staying in touch with people. And you could build that, and then every single client, bang, gets put on it.
And the beauty of that is, Sam, as you say, it's automated, so you don't need to really think about it. But 3 months down the line, it's gonna happen anyway. I mean, obviously.
That's it.
It's a good idea. Yeah. I never thought of that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, no, with customers, it can work really well. So I think that's the key, is it's about customers, it works really well. You talk about all your different services, because they might not know what you're offering. Often we were talking with Gillian Devine on a show recently. She was talking about leaving money on the table.
That's right.
Your clients don't always know what you're offering. This is one way of making sure, maybe on that first go you left a bit of money on the table, but with this, if they're getting a series of emails afterwards, you're letting them know what else you do. And they're already being your customer, so it's not like you're being pushy in some extent. You're not saying buy this, you're just saying, oh, did you know? We're just offering this, might be of interest. So yeah, really good for customers, really good on that sales funnel for moving people from one stage to the next. And like we said, Marcus, yes, we're not expecting it to be a huge leap. Don't expect 10 emails to turn somebody from you've never met to buying something massive, but it will move them from one stage to the next if you make those stages sensibly spaced. Yeah, make them maybe having got a free download to maybe purchasing something small, maybe a 1 hour headshot session or something, before you can then move them on to the next thing.
Very good. Brilliant, Sam. We're coming up to the 15-minute mark. You got any more to add to that, or?
No, I'm about coming to the end of my notes there, Marcus.
You timed it perfectly, mate.
What I was getting for. I was waiting for your insightful questions, Marcus. That was all.
Very good. And presumably you use these in your businesses, Sam, your website for photographers' business, you use this kind of marketing approach?
So I've got quite a big mailing list in there. There's all sorts of tags and automations and all sorts going on. I use it even more. I've got a website for tourism in Mozambique where I am, and that's got endless. So I've got people in there who use the websites as tourists, who are business owners and they have listings on the website. There's all sorts of tags differentiating those different people. There's automations chasing people for proof that they own a business so they can go have a listing. There's email, there's all sorts of endless email stuff going on there.
Just to recap, we covered 3 key points today. Firstly, we talked about how to automatically warm up your leads. By setting up a simple email sequence, you can build a relationship with potential clients, turning a cold download into a hot prospect ready to book with you. Second, we looked at the secret to retaining your clients. An automated email series after a photo shoot can help you stay in touch, offer value, and increase the chances of repeat business. And finally, we explained the power of tags and triggers. This simple system within your email platform ensures you're sending the right message to the right people, helping you avoid looking unprofessional and keeping your communications personal and effective.
We hope you enjoyed this week's podcast. You can like and subscribe on your usual podcast platform. You can find Sam and Marcus on LinkedIn and at websiteforphotographers.co.uk/podcast. See you next week.